You are 24, and you and 5 other people are hauling secondhand furniture up 3 flights of stairs into the same rundown apartment complex on the same weekend in August. Same starting salary, give or take a few $1,000s. Same ramen dinners. Same joke about how none of you can afford the couch you just bought. For one single month, on paper, you are all exactly, boringly equal. You will not stay equal. Not because anyone is smarter or luckier or works harder than anyone else in that apartment complex. You are about to find out that the biggest financial gap of your entire life gets decided in the next few years, by a decision so small that nobody in that stairwell would have bet $1 on it mattering at all. You are 25. A coworker mentions a retirement account almost as an afterthought, the way people mention things they assume everyone already knows. You go home and open one that night. You set up $700 a month, automatically, into a low-cost index fund, time to leave your account the same day your paycheck lands, so you never have the chance to talk yourself out of it. You don't increase it when you get a raise. You don't decrease it when rent goes up. It just happens quietly every month, like a bill you agreed to pay yourself. Everyone else upgrades. New couches become real couches. Studio apartments become 1 bedrooms with parking included. Nobody is being reckless. Everyone is just living exactly as well as their paycheck allows, the way you're taught life is supposed to work. You are the only one in the friend group who decided to live slightly beneath what your paycheck allows, on purpose, for reasons you can't fully explain even to yourself. A year in, you've put in $8,400. The account says $8,715. $315 showed up that you didn't work a single hour for. It's not enough to matter to anyone. It's just enough for you to notice. You are 27. One friend, we'll call him Jordan, finds something better. Jordan discovers a stock everyone online is calling the next big thing, then a coin nobody can quite explain the purpose of, then an options strategy a stranger in a group chat swears is a guaranteed play. For about 8 months, Jordan is the most interesting person in the friend group. He talks in percentages. He shows screenshots. You keep sending your $700 into the same boring index fund, and nobody asks you about it because there's nothing to show a screenshot of. Then the coin does what coins like that eventually do, and the options strategy does what options strategies eventually do, and Jordan goes quiet about money for a long time. Nothing dramatic happens. He just stops bringing it up. You never say a word about it, because there's nothing to say. Patience was never going to make an interesting screenshot, and it didn't need to. You are 29, 5 years in. The account reads $51,434. You've contributed $42,000 of that. The other $9,434 arrived from nowhere you can point to on a calendar. Just money that was already yours, working while you weren't watching it. You are 33 9 years in. $110,201 on the screen. $75,601 of that is yours. $34,601 of it grew on its own. The weddings start this year, 3 of them, back to back, and you're standing in a rental tux doing math on flights and gifts while everyone around you takes on loans for rings and venues and honeymoons they'll be paying off for years. You go to every wedding. You just don't finance yours the way they're financing theirs, because you haven't gotten married yet, and when you do, the account is already there, unbothered, doing what it does. You are 38, 14 years in, $215,616. You've put in $117,600 across those years. The market has quietly added $98,016 you never worked for. The market falls apart that same year. Not a dip, a real unraveling. The kind where every group chat goes quiet, except for the one friend posting doom headlines. You do the thing that feels insane and isn't. You don't check the app for most of a month. You keep sending the $700 in, buying more of the market while it's cheaper than it's been in years. 6 months later, the account isn't just back. It's higher than before the crash ever started. And that same year, quietly, with no headline anywhere, something else happens. You're 40 now, 16 years in. Your contributions sit at $134,400. Your growth sits at $136,646. For the first time in your life, the money you didn't earn is worth more than the money you did. Nobody handed you a raise for it. A line just got crossed on an ordinary Tuesday, and from here forward, the invisible half of your wealth is doing more of the lifting than you are. If nobody's ever laid this exact math out for you before, that's the whole reason this channel exists. Hit like right now so more people catch this before the moment where it would have mattered most. Because it's about to get a lot harder to ignore. You are 44 years in, $412,314. You've contributed $168,000. The rest, $244,314 you never earned. Maya, who upgraded her lifestyle the fastest back in your 20s, calls that year, not to catch up, to ask for help. A layoff, then a rough stretch, then numbers that don't work anymore. You help immediately, without a second thought, because the gap between you was never about who worked harder or who deserved it more. It was about a decision made in a stairwell 19 years ago that nobody could have known would matter this much. You are 48, 24 years in, $606,652. $201,600 of that is yours. $405,052 of it compounded on its own. At the 10-year reunion, someone does the math out loud, half joking, about who's doing best from the old apartment complex. You don't say anything. There's nothing to say that wouldn't sound like bragging, and it was never a competition. It was just a decision that quietly kept compounding while everyone else's decisions quietly did other things. You are 54, 30 years in, the account crosses $1 million. $1,043,252. You put in $252,000 of that across 3 decades of ordinary paychecks. The other $791,252 was never yours to earn. $1 million, built by someone who was never the highest earner in the room. Not once, not in 30 years. You are 58, 34 years in. $1,474,611. You've contributed $285,600 total. $1,189,011 of it grew on its own. The investments now generate more in a single strong year than your entire starting salary used to pay you across 2. Financial independence doesn't look like yachts or headlines. It looks like being able to say no to a project you don't want, a boss you're tired of, an obligation that no longer fits, and meaning it because the money doesn't need you to say yes anymore. You are 64, 40 years from that stairwell. The number on the screen says $243,705. You personally contributed $336,000 of it, less than the price of a house in some cities, spread so thin across 40 years you never once felt rich putting it in. Everything else, $2 in $107,705, was time, doing the only thing time does to money nobody touches. At a 4% withdrawal rate, this account now pays you close to $98,000 a year, indefinitely, without selling a single share. You didn't get rich faster than the people in that stairwell because you were smarter than them, or wanted it more, or worked harder for it. You got rich faster because you started 18 months before most of them even thought about starting, and then you simply never stopped. There's a version of this story nobody puts in the highlight reel. Some of the people from that apartment complex are still your closest friends. But there's a distance now that nobody built on purpose. A quiet space between the version of you that has options and the version of them that still doesn't. And no amount of helping closes it completely. Because the gap was never really about the money. It was about 18 months, compounded for 40 years, that nobody in that stairwell saw coming. If this is the math nobody walked you through before it was too late to use it, that's what this channel is for. Subscribe, and let's make sure it isn't too late for you.